Hi, I'm Margie, and welcome back to my kitchen. It's summertime and it's strawberry season, and also Memorial Day is coming up. 4th of July is coming pretty soon. So I made a pie, a strawberry pie, and it's really not that difficult. And it really does look wonderful. So I'm going to get started doing that for you, and I'll be back in just a moment. Get some nice cool water going, not too cold, like the rain. These strawberries have nice green tops. That's how you can tell when they're nice and fresh. So I'm just taking the knife and I'm sticking it into the point of the top, and I'm just going to make a little circle with the strawberry. And we'll let them dry. Stick the knife in and just twist the strawberry, turn the strawberry. And if you let them dry, these will hold up in the refrigerator a lot longer. The way I determine how many strawberries go into my pie is I'm going to put the strawberries into the pie pan and see how they fit. I like to have a little bit of a pile. So, I'll set those up nicer when I do the pie. To make the sauce that goes over the strawberries, or the glaze, 3½ tablespoons of cornstarch, that's my half. I'm going to mix in a saucepan, heavy bottom saucepan. I'm going to put 1 cup of sugar, and I'm going to put the 3½ tablespoons of cornstarch, and I'm going to just combine that a little bit. And then I'm going to bring it over to the stove, and I'm going to add my 2 cups of mashed strawberries and ½ a cup of water. So to make a 10-inch pie crust, or a 9-inch, you have 1 1/3 cups of flour, and this was a ½ a teaspoon of salt. And this is a ½ a cup of shortening. And we'll use a pie cutter, a pastry cutter. And just go through that and crumble it up, get it all mixed in thoroughly. This is ice water. I'm going to put in 3 tablespoons. It may need 1 more. I'm mixing it with a fork. It's still pretty wet where it's wet and pretty dry where it's dry, so I'm just going to mix it. Got my finger on the top of the, just to bring that in a little bit. I may not need more. Less water the better. Okay. Get a little flour on the table, I'll bring it together. Put it on a piece of saran wrap, and we'll put it in the refrigerator for ½ hour. Just taking this out of the refrigerator after ½ an hour. It's pretty cool. go ahead and roll out your dough. I lift it up and I continually put some flour under it and over it and lift it up so it doesn't stick to the board. Just keep rolling very gently out from the center. And then when I think it's big enough, I might take the pie pan, just set it over the dough, see if it's big enough. So here I want it a little bit larger. Now that little spatula I went under the dough just to loosen it. Now here I'm just going to flip the dough over the rolling pin. I'm just going to pick it up carefully and try to bring it over and lay it down over the pan. You never quite make it to the center, so you have to just sort of gently put your fingers under it and kind of show it who's boss. Don't be afraid of it. So now I'm taking a scissor and I'm leaving about 1.5 inches of dough below the edge of the rim. You can save this dough and you can make some cookies with it later. I have a YouTube video on how to make little cinnamon cookies like that. But now I'm just folding the outside of the rim of the dough under itself, and I'm just pressing pretty gently. And you just carefully go all the way around the pan, and I kind of look around to see if there's anything that needs to be shaped a little better. So once it's all ready, I'm going to take a fork. Now I find that a fork works best because this pie crust is going to be baked ahead of time, and we're putting a filling in it that's not going to be baked. So that type of an edge helps the pie crust stay up on the sides. And then I poked holes also in the crust with the fork. Here I have a piece of parchment paper, a little circle that I cut out, and I'm just going to sort of press that into the bottom of the pan gently and loosely, and just put a very thin layer of rice at the bottom and all the way to the edge, but just a thin layer so you don't affect the baking of the crust on the bottom of the pie. And here, halfway through the baking process, I'm taking out the paper. See how this crust is nice and golden brown even in the center? You're looking for that center to be brown also, so you know it's going to be nice and crispy. Now I'm making the strawberry glaze, and in the pan I already have the 1 cup of sugar, and you can use a little less sugar if you like, maybe 3/4 of a cup, because it's the cornstarch that does the thickening. So you can make it a little less sweet. So I've combined the 1/2 cup in with that cornstarch and sugar. As soon as I get it mixed in, I'm going to add the strawberries, the mashed strawberries. And if you look, you'll see over next to the handle of the pot a little red bottle. That's red food coloring, which you can use if you want. Just a couple of drops. I chose not to, but most strawberry pies are very bright red. So what I'm doing here is I'm stirring it, and then I'm going to bring it to a boil, and I'm going to let it cook for about 2 to 3 minutes until it thickens up. Now I'm just going to put it in a pan, and it's going to need to cool down to room temperature. I stir it occasionally to help that process along. Now that the glaze is room temperature, I'm going to put the glaze on the strawberries. Now I'm using a large bowl so I can toss the strawberries pretty well and gently. Have plenty of room. So I'm sort of folding the strawberries over themselves just to get the glaze all covering the strawberries. Now bring over your baked pie shell and carefully put the strawberries in. You don't have to worry too much because you can use a pair of tongs to flip some of the strawberries over if they didn't fall the direction you want, but they don't all have to be standing up straight. Sometimes people will cut the strawberries a little bit so they're not so big. But I've used this tong to sort of rearrange the strawberries a little bit if they fell in upside down. It makes it look a little prettier. This is a 2E tip that I'm going to put down into a fairly large pastry bag. I'm going to take this whipped cream that I made, put it down into the bag, and I'm going to decorate the pie. So I'll go ahead and put this in. Now the pie is all done and has been refrigerated for a couple of hours. So we'll see what it looks like. That looks pretty nice. So I want to thank you for joining me, and I'll be back very soon. Bye.